Hello everybody, I'm Leora Sims. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to Season 1, Part 22 of my Sims 4 Law and Order SVU series. If you missed any of the previous episodes, please go back and watch them. Before I get back into gameplay, I'm going to be discussing nonprofit organizations that are designed to help people with disabilities find employment. In my experience, these nonprofits do not work at all. Many times because of discrimination and fear, people with disabilities feel that they need to go to an agency in order to find a job, in order to find a person willing to hire them and give them an opportunity. When the disabled person goes to this agency, the agency does not help them directly. The agency sends them to a vendor, a small nonprofit that is supposed to help them find employment. There are very few that help people with disabilities and degrees find employment. So many times when I go to a vendor, they don't know what to do with me. But if they keep me on their books, they get money from the state. So they do an intake, they take my name, and my name will sit on their books for a long time until I decide to use a different vendor because that particular vendor is not working. What happens to me over the last few years, many times, is that I will go to an agency. The agency will get me in touch with a vendor, and the vendor will hire me instead of helping me find a job with another company. And this sounds great. But the agency that got me in touch with the vendor gives the vendor a finder's fee for helping me find a job. And they get this finder's fee even if the vendor hires me themselves. This does not work for me because once the money runs out, I end up losing a job. what happens is the vendor will hire me, will tell me how wonderful I am, will use my skills, will tell me that they want me full-time soon, and then the agency that got me in contact with them will stop paying them their finder's fee, because the finder's fee is a certain amount to be paid over a certain amount of time. And when the vendor gets that money, they use that money to pay me. Once that money starts to dwindle, they cut my hours and then fire me from the organization. A few weeks ago, I told you that I helped a young woman get an internship and ultimately a full-time job. My supervisor told me that I was doing a great job and that I had a future with the organization for years to come. And a few weeks after that, she fired me. And I happen to know that the agency that got me in contact with the organization I was working for had stopped paying them less than a month prior. This has happened to me over and over and over again. What bothers me about the supervisor that I just told you about is that before this supervisor fired me, she had me interview. She knew about an interview I was doing for the school disability newsletter. The organization that I was working for was renting space from my old university. And they wanted a very good relationship with the Office for Students with Disabilities because they wanted the graduates with disabilities to become their clients. After I had worked there for some time, I was contacted by the school's newsletter and I interviewed and I gave them a glowing review. And in this interview, I was quoted as saying that everyone who has a disability at this college should go to this particular organization because they help. About a week later, I was fired. And that was not fair. And I deserve better treatment than that. I tried to stop the printing of this interview, but they wouldn't do it. I also have friends who have a son who was placed in a job by one of these organizations. But now that they placed him in a job, they don't want to place him in another. He's bored with this job and he wants to get another job. But they feel that they shouldn't have to help him because they already placed him. So I guess he's supposed to be at that one job for the next 50 years. In my opinion, now that he has some work experience, he should forget about these particular nonprofits and try to get his own job. It is hard to get a job when you have very little work experience. So if you don't have work experience, go get some. As I said in another video, try to at least get volunteer work. Something that makes you stand out. And if you were ever in a position where you can hire somebody with a disability, please do so. People with disabilities are very capable of working in many different fields. They're just like everybody else. And if more people hired individuals with disabilities would not need these agencies to help them find a job. They would not be at the mercy of these organizations. And there are plenty of organizations out there that do help people. But employment is very tricky. And why help someone find employment if it helps the organization get state and federal funding just by keeping a name on the books? And after years of this happening to me over and over again, I decided to be my own boss. I decided to be self-employed. But not everyone wants to be self-employed. Some people want a job where they can work for another person. So again, I beg you, if you are in a position ever to hire somebody with a disability, give them a chance. Because most of the time, they deserve that chance. And they deserve that chance just as much as anybody else. And they don't often get a lot of chances in the employment world. I will be right back. It is Thursday in game, and Olivia is once again at work at the police station. And fortunately, Raphael Barba is also here. So she is going to talk to him. They're discussing a case.
Yes, Murfan, Gununa, Shimpoini.
Yasha.
And she's going to talk to him for a little longer. They're going to have a deep conversation. She's going to tell him something in confidence, which she often does. And then she is going to discuss case theories with John Muntz. This is perfect.
Gibbs.
Roshna Krivix. Gibbs. Hebrif. Ibashni. Swalashun. Zifun Pamatash.
Rawa Uvene, Kangaroo.
Lane Schwarber. Dumas and Bar.
La.
The North St.
So.
Kimmelish.
Ispa.
Marvel.
Bar Pasa. Thinica Tablo. Ha Hibana.
Boy Shtembara.
Yorid Jasapa.
Abimo Brizu. Blevko.
Jilabar.
Skeebs. Zafula. Huh?
Ruhana.
Sharon.
Doloba.
John is on the phone. We'll try this case series again.
Baranai Garnape. Baranai Garnape.
Sepane Mifla.
Mispa Ashri. Pipwa. The Seklu.
Madish.
So.
Dag.
Four.
And she can issue now an APB. But first, I want to look at her notebook, which is a button on the phone up here in the notebook. It says the suspect is wearing black slacks. The suspect is female. The suspect is ambitious. The suspect is wearing a tank top. The suspect has gray hair. The suspect is an elder. Well, that's obvious. I think we should add clues first, and then issue APB. Now, issuing an APB might send me to a loading screen. I don't remember. If that's what it does.
Chibi Sabafa Uvene. Derona Zodacloy. Oh, Suna Faramboya.
And it does. I will be right back. Before I end this episode, I just wanted to show you who Olivia arrested. It was a very easy arrest. She found the suspect immediately. It's this woman here, an elder wearing a tank top and black slacks, wearing a bright yellow tank top and black flag, so she was very easy to spot. I'm ending this episode here, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it helpful. Be happy. Find fulfillment in your career. And be safe. Thanks for watching.